What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive. Now, I'm obviously at the airport here. I don't often start my videos at the airport, but this is a special one. Picking up a new car, 335i. It's in Florida. If you guys remember, a couple years ago I went with my buddy Adam. We bought my Elise and drove it back from Florida. Well, it's basically the same trip, except this time in a much more comfortable car. So why don't you guys come along the way. I'll talk about the car and why I'm buying it, and let's hop on this plane because I think it's about to board and leave. So the car was in Panama City, but we were flying into Destin, Florida, and taking a rental car one way. Just landed in Florida, finally. Plane got delayed, which is typical fashion because I'm pretty sure last time we flew to Florida the plane was also delayed. So now it's dark and I'm gonna buy this car in the dark, which you're not supposed to do. Again. It's not the first time, obviously. We're in a rental, driving, you know, perfectly for legal reasons. We don't abuse rental cars at all. Anyway, let's go check this car out if we can ever get there. How's that engine sound when you pop the hood? How's that engine sound?
I don't think you can hear it at all. So when are we straight piping it?
Tonight.
Sick. We're gonna get a sawzall.
Sounds like a DI motor.
Oh, is it ticking?
Yeah, sounds like every DI motor I've ever heard.
Is that carbon buildup I hear?
This is the most thorough inspection ever.
We didn't do a thing.
Don't look at me. Obviously in the car now, so I didn't want to ask the guy like if I could film at his house. It kind of felt weird. Super nice dude. We're just going on a test drive right now. Car looks super clean, like the exterior is real clean. The only thing I noticed is, and this is so funny to me because I've already dealt with it on a prior 3 Series, the oil filter housing gasket is leaking. And I don't understand this design. Like BMW, this has been going on for 20 years. My last 328 did this. But anyway, it's not a huge deal to fix that. So we're just gonna take it for a little cruise here. Get on it a little bit, see how she reacts, and if all is good, we'll be walking away with this choice 335.
Let's be realistic, you're not getting a rental car back to Cincinnati.
I mean, worst case Ontario. I like the heads-up display, that's kind of cool. I've never had that before. All right, ready?
Yeah, Pontiac Aztec had that. Yeah.
Let's see what she do. Holy shit. Yeah, she gets up and goes, dude. She gets up and goes, for sure.
Keep up with my Acura.
I wish I had, there's no paddles. That's really annoying.
Really?
Yeah.
Before we flew down, after talking with the previous owner on the phone, I felt pretty good about the car, and the test drive reaffirmed that it was pretty solid, so I decided to buy it. By the time we finished signing the car over, it was getting pretty late, so we hit a local dive bar and called it for the night, looking forward to the drive home the next day.
Good morning, all. Here at the hotel, and it's a decent day. It's supposed to be a tropical storm today, but that's not till a little bit later. And I figure we came all this way. I really want to go to the ocean, even if it's briefly. So the plan for today is to hit the ocean real quick and then start driving back. But we're gonna spend the night over in Nashville because it's a little over halfway. will get us most of the way home, and it's also not supposed to rain there. Like, the storm's not supposed to come that high. If you've ever been to Nashville, it's a pretty cool city, so I figure we might as well stop there. But before we do that, I'm going to show you guys around the car, give you some details on why I decided to buy it, and then, you know, we'll just take you for the rest of the trip. So let's hit the beach, and then I'll show you guys the car. It's always a good start to your day. I wanted to just show you guys the car. I started it, we were just gonna hit the road and then find like a nice place to go over the car. And it says the coolant's low. So I just texted the owner, or the previous owner at this point, I guess, which is like, hey man, has the coolant ever been low? And sure enough, oh yeah, I totally forgot to mention, like a couple weeks ago it said it was low but never said it again. So I don't know what the hell the deal with that is. It does, like, there's coolant in here, and I could be putting coolant in, obviously, but I'm just gonna do a little bit of distilled water because I don't think it's gonna dilute the mix that much. We're in Florida anyways, so it's not like I'm super worried, but I'm just gonna top it off here and hope that we don't see that light again. I'm not sure what the deal is, like if the water pump's going out or what, but putting, you know, 20 ounces of water isn't the end of the world. Just would have been nice to know. So it looks like it's right at about the mark now. We'll see if we can get home on this shit.
Fingers crossed.
After the random coolant low light, which I think was actually just a bad sensor, I wanted to get some miles behind us and finally stretch the car's legs a little bit.
So enough vloggy type stuff. This is a car channel. Let's talk about this car. Let's talk about why I bought it. So this is a 2012 335i. So that's the F30 generation. It's the first year of the F30 generation of the 3 Series. These cars got bigger. I've owned multiple E90s. I really like them a lot. And admittedly, this car is not quite as good dynamically as the E90s, but in a everyday fashion and from a comfort standpoint, it's a step up, and that's really what I wanted. I'm replacing my Fiesta ST. I wanted something more comfortable and just a little more refined. The Fiesta ST I like a lot. It's a lot of fun, but it's very cheap, and that kind of wears on you after a while. So once again, 2012, it has about 69,000 miles on it. It's in pretty decent shape, I think. I mean, we've driven it about 400 miles at this point. It's a 2-owner car. The original owner was from Virginia, and then I bought it from Florida, obviously, which is where we went. He owned the car for like 2 years. Super nice guy. Hopefully he took care of it. Time will tell. But the exterior wise, like, I think he took pretty good care of it. Now, this is a sport package one, and this was part of the reason I traveled so far to get this car, is because the sport package was mandatory for me. You get the better seats, obviously you get different wheels, different suspension. My 328i had the sport package, and I just liked it a lot more than the standard 3 Series. So that's why I kind of went farther. You can find these cars cheaper, but you're not gonna find one with the sport package. So I think it's a pretty decent price. I think for 16, for, you know, less than, we'll just say less than $17,000, this is a lot of car for the money, I think. So the tires are in good shape, the brakes look like they're in good shape, and I'm pretty happy about the choice. So we'll cover more information about the driving dynamics of the car and what it's like to drive kind of later, but I just kind of wanted to give an overview of the car. So we're heading to Nashville now. We're gonna try and pick out an overnight spot, and then we'll go from there. This is
Oh,
a
fuck.
weird dongle thing. There you go.
Oh wait, no, this
You
drive.
gotta hold up.
Yeah, I don't want to go forward.
you gotta.
What a fucking dumb car. Why can't you just have a normal gated automatic?
I completely agree. Just fucking
Send
send
it.
it. Let her eat.
They're in Florida. It's almost as fast as a 300CX. Maybe not quite.
After what felt like a short 7-hour drive, we arrived in Nashville for our overnight stay. If you've never been to Nashville, you should definitely put it on your short list. It's a really cool city, and Broadway Street has more bars in one block than I've ever seen before. After our stay in Nashville, home in Cincinnati was only 4 hours away, and it was about time to finally give some impressions of the car.
So how about some driving impressions of this car? Finally, right? Finally. As I mentioned earlier, this is the F30 generation, and this generation after the E90 is a little bit of a step back dynamically. After I've driven this car about 700-800 miles on this trip, some observations. So the steering is very accurate, but to be honest, there's not a ton of feedback coming through the wheel. This is quite disappointing for a BMW. But I kind of knew that coming in. I really wanted a car that was going to be more on the side of comfort. Now, steering feel doesn't really have to do with comfort, but some of the advantages that this car has over the E90 are more on the comfort standpoint. Now, I'm really starting to sound really old. Like, this is ridiculous. I never thought I would say that, but keep in mind, this is why I bought this car. This is to be a daily driver, and keep in mind that I have other fun cars that I can drive. So the reason I ended up with an automatic is because I have 2 other manual cars that I can drive. I can drive, excuse me, my 911 or my 240. And, you know, if I want to row through the gears, I just drive those and enjoy them. But this is more for, you know, just cruising, going to and from work. It's comfortable. The suspension is very compliant. It was awesome for this road trip. Now, it does have more body roll than my 328 E90 that I had with the sport package. So this car has a sport package. E90 had a sport package, but once again, this is just more airs on the side of comfort. I think it's a good looking car. I like this generation in general, but the sport package, I think it's like 10 mil lower on the suspension, so it looks lower. It's a little firmer over the standard car, which, like I said, standard car has to be super soft. But this is a great compromise, in my opinion. The engine, now this is basically the same engine that was in my M235i, and it feels strong. My M235i was tuned, and this feels not much slower. I think a lot of that has to do with this transmission. Unbelievable transmission. The CF8 is a fantastic transmission. I got legitimately over 30 miles to the highway on the way home, and I never saw that in my M235i. Even though it was a lighter car, smaller car, same engine, it really just boils down to gearing. I think gearing and aero. So, excuse me, allergies. So, overall, the car was just fantastic on the highway, and unfortunately, it's a bit of a problem for me because I find myself speeding so often. The car just eats up highway miles, and you're going theoretically 90 miles an hour, and it feels like 60 in this car. You know, that's German cars in general, but man, this car just eats up highway. The interior is pretty nice. It's not ultra premium, but it's definitely pretty nice. It's been great. Good gas mileage, comfortable, it's fast, and I really like the car. I'm really happy with the purchase. We will see reliability wise how it ends up panning out in the end. That's always obviously the ultimate test of any car, as if it holds up. I already know I need to replace the oil filter housing gasket, which I had to do on my previous car, my previous 3 Series. Not a big deal, cheap fix, not too bad, but if everything else major holds together, think this will be a real nice car for me on a daily basis. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. If you think I was an idiot to buy F30 from reliability reasons or just because it's so soft. I totally concede that it's a softer car. But appreciate you guys watching as always. Stay tuned, more videos from the Porsche when I fix the clutch, more videos from the 240. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.